WNST materials. We've sent those letters off to Manny Machado, as well as Manny Machado off to the Los Angeles Dodgers for 5 prospects. And Luke and I have been up and down the river with that. We've obviously got the Ravens going on, and there's lots to say and talk about with Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco. Next week, we're going to be doing a ton of Ray Lewis in anticipation of Canton. We're going to be bringing on a bunch of old friends and Ravens friends to reminisce. I'm going to be running some Ray Lewis memories. But it is the summer around here for those of us who have our Stanley Cup champs hats, that it's the summer that the Stanley Cup was run all around the DMV. Ed Frankovic joins us now. It is our first visit, really. Dude, you and I have only talked once or twice since the Cup, right? Like, literally, it all, the parade and the Cup. We haven't talked much since Trotz left, and I just want to give you a little breezy chance while I wear my Free the Birds hat and my Brigade shirt here going into the long week and the long summer ahead to just sort of recap some Caps here, because it's been kind of a weird aftermath, especially for you and I, knowing Coach Trotz the way we do, your kids in the Stanley Cup. My wife and I got all of our pictures in the first night. People are asking me when the Cup's coming to Baltimore. I have no idea. And Trotz has run off coaching the Islanders, and meanwhile the Caps have had to conduct business here this summer with Todd Reirden.
Yeah, Ness, it's been an interesting summer of the Cup. I've certainly enjoyed following along on social media with all of the celebrations, particularly Alex Ovechkin and his 2 days in Russia with the Cup, and he certainly did it up, and he certainly deserved it. And as we know, Alex even won an ESPY for Male Athlete of the Year. So his popularity is soaring. A lot of people have really felt good about this win for Alex Ovechkin. But on the downside, you win a Stanley Cup. A coach you brought in here 4 years ago to transform the organization and change your culture is no longer with you. And despite the fact that they've managed to bring just about everybody back other than Jay Beagle, who I had a feeling on breakdown day when I talked to him, someone was going to throw some money at him, and the Vancouver Canucks did. But still, nonetheless, Brian McClellan's been able to bring pretty much everybody back. We're still waiting to see the final numbers on the Tom Wilson deal and the term. And Brooks Orpik, I think, will be back in the fold here once they figure out how much money they have. Grubauer and Beagle are certainly only losses on the playing side, but on the coaching side, we've got a lot of questions for sure with Coach Trotz going and getting the money that he deserved. I would have liked to have seen the Capitals pay him that, but the Capitals don't pay money for coaches, and we've already seen they've lost Lane Lambert with Coach Trotz, and Mitch Korn is likely headed to the Islanders. So big changes on the Capitals coaching staff, and I don't think you can diminish the possible impacts of that. I know they really like Todd Reirden, but he's never been a head coach at the NHL, where Barry Trotz had almost 20 seasons of experience at the NHL. So big changes coming for the Capitals this year, off the ice instead of on the ice.
Well, I mean, what does that mean? It's very hard for me to quantify because, Eddie, you've been at this a long time, man. And if I challenged you to go backwards on coaches, you would start spouting off Cassidy's and Schoenfeld's. Dude, Terry Murray, Brian Murray, guys I liked a lot. And you go all the way back. They all have one thing in common, right?
They all get fired. They're a commodity, as Coach Trotz told us, right?
They all lost. They all lost.
Oh, they all lost. Yeah, they all lost.
None of them won the Stanley Cup. This is the only guy you can measure anyone who's ever been there against, really kind of sort of in any way other than if you want to throw 98 in there, go ahead. But if you're measuring on success and how success is judged in the National Hockey League, your name's on the goblet or it's not, or you came close or you didn't come close, quite frankly. And quite frankly, the Capitals have never come close. So now they win that. So I don't know how you say, well, what is life like after that? Well, it's not the same. I know that, and I don't know where the level of expectations for the organization are at this point, and why over a couple of $1 million they hardlined a guy who did something no one else has ever done. That's going to be for them to answer moving forward, but what does it mean for the hockey team tactically to not have Barry Trotz around?
Well, I think that's going to be the interesting thing, and one thing that Coach Trotz told you and I in our sessions we had with him up in Baltimore, which I'm absolutely going to miss. Those we gained a lot of insight into the organization and the team and how Barry ran things. And he was very much a delegator. He'd been around the block. He coached so many games. I think he's fifth or sixth on the all-time list, Nestor, in terms of games coached. And he knew how to run an organization. And he said he evolved over time, and he learned you had to delegate to the assistant coaches, personnel decisions, and you only vetoed when you really felt like it was in the best interest of the longer term of the organization. And at the head coach, you're really just the guy standing up there and orchestrating the band, and you're making sure everybody's dialed in and focused. And he changed the culture, and we all know last summer he went and visited Alex Ovechkin and kind of had a heart-to-heart with him, and Ovechkin turns in arguably his best season ever with 49 goals in the regular season, 15 in the playoffs. And unbelievable leadership. He brought speed back to his game. Just he did everything, and this team really came together. And you have to give credit to Coach Trotz, and you have to give a lot of credit to the players. And you're walking away from a guy who took an organization that was in shambles. I mean, I remember the scathing piece I wrote in the spring of 2014 when McVie was trading for Halak and goalies and alienating Braden Holtby. And Adam Oates who knows what Adam Oates was doing, but he was not leading, and everybody in that locker room couldn't stand him. Ovechkin wasn't even going to back check because he couldn't stand the coach. The team was an absolute disaster. And they got rid of McVie, and they got rid of McClellan, and they built this monster behemoth of a team, if you will, that won 2 President's trophies. Yes, they didn't get it done in the playoffs, losing to the Penguins, who won 2 in a row. But then they broke free, and they did it. And they did what everybody's been waiting 44 years for. And you go and you step away from a coach for a couple $1 million, and that's just a head-scratcher to me, Ness.
Well, the rest of the summer, as far as putting the band back together and where guys were going to sign and the Devontae Smith-Pellies and, the guys that are going out the side doors, it has been, eye-opening to see what Jay Beagle has been worth and what some of these players' value is or isn't on the open market, because together as a unit, we watched them play the best hockey for the first time ever. It was the Caps guys that we're judging the third and fourth liners as, wow, we're going to remember their names. Other than John Druce, which is now 30 years old, right? That there are some April and May and June heroes that are the Rick Dempseys and the Todd Cruzes of our youth, right? Or the Jacoby Joneses, who aren't going to the Hall of Fame, but are always going to be remembered. But Jay Beagle would be one of those guys that got paid, right?
Absolutely. Jay Beagle did a lot for this team, and the penalty kill and the fourth-line center, and face-offs was probably the biggest hole. That'll be the biggest hole for the Capitals to fill going forward, because he was the guy, whenever there was a key face-off, Coach Trotz had him out there taking it. And that's going to be the biggest loss on face-off. So, Lars Eller or Nicholas Backstrom or Travis Boyd, if he wins that fourth-line job, and he's penciled in to do that right now, these guys are going to have to win those key face-offs. And you can go back and you can watch the games. And I've watched these games over and over. It's much more fun watching them this year than I've done in years past when you knew they were going to lose. They've made the plays, and a lot of these are big little things. They did the little things. That was the thing Coach Trotz emphasized to this team, and Matt Niskanen made a comment about that. Trotz said something to the team back in February. He says, the reason you lose to the Penguins every year is these little guys like Connor Sheary are winning the board battles and beating you to the pucks. Well, that was not the case this spring. The Capitals won those board battles. They were the better team, no matter who they played. And you can run through their list of...
and that's about work. That's just literally, that's an effort, conditioning, want, focus, determination, moment after moment, night after night as the beard gets longer. And I think that's why we respect it so much, that it's been done. And that's part of the joy that goes in the parading that cup around and having your kids down on the city dock, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun seeing Woody bring it down there, and it was a mob scene, over 3,000 people probably there to see it, and because it was the first time it was really in Maryland, and my kids got to touch the cup, and they enjoyed it. We're still waiting for another chance. I noticed that the Capitals have been bringing it around to a lot of hockey organizations. I know the Reston Raiders got it. I know Nelson Burton out with his Mighty Machine team out there, Maryland Machine team out, Piney Orchard got it. I'm hoping at some point it's coming to Tri-City where my boys play, and we get to have a nice picture instead of, having to pose on the dock and hope Woody comes behind it with his boat. But that was an interesting shot, but a fun day for us. And but the thing is, you're right. Hockey's about that work ethic. It's about that intensity. It's not tactical. I mean, there's no secrets. There's no like special X's and O's that Trotz or Todd Reardon have. Now there's certain things and adjustments you can make in a series, but at the end of the day, it's who's going to battle for that puck, who's going to battle for the guy sitting next to him in the stall and make sure he doesn't let him down. And that was the thing the Capitals did this year, and that's how they came together. And that's a part from the coaching staff on down. A culture of just supporting your players and working hard. And this team, whenever somebody went out or Wilson got suspended, Backstrom breaks his finger, Burakovsky breaks his finger, somebody stepped up. There was always somebody ready to go. And that was the beauty of this team and the way they played together and the chemistry. And that's why Brian McClellan has tried to keep it back together. And this was not his decision, Ness, at all on the money. This came from above. This comes from Ted Leonsis and Dick Patrick. This is how much money they want to spend on coaches. And they made the decision that, in their minds, they didn't think it was worth it. We're about to find out this year.
Well, what do they say? Poor judgment, right? We've got a lot of that going on with the baseball team right now. Ed Frankovic is our guest. You can follow him out on Twitter at Ed Frankovic. He, of course, our Capitals historian, insider, and now in the aftermath of all of this, it's kind of fun in life when this happens. You get the hat, you get the T-shirt, and all that stuff. And we see the other side of that as I'm writing my Dear Orioles letters, and we're giving Manny Machado away. And we have the question as to whether Lamar Jackson is going to be the next Johnny Unitas or the next Joe Flacco, quite frankly, to win a Super Bowl around here, whether Joe Flacco is going to be the next Eli Manning to win another Super Bowl or not. So these are all the questions we have. But in the aftermath of the Cup, then there is your memories and the things of this summer and the specialness of that night with my wife and I out in Las Vegas with the coach and down at the nation's capital and my thoughts and memories about it and the aftermath. But then there is this thing about watching the Cup on social media, travel the world, wind up in various places and with videos and home movies and pictures and Instagrams and all sorts of weirdness. This has really been something I never envisioned for, what would happen after you win the Cup, that you'd be on social media watching the Cup go around to John Carlson's party, Yeah,
it really is neat. I mean, we really are lucky to have This is the beauty of social media. There are a lot of negative things to social media with bullying and negativity, but this is the positive thing. And the guys, the keepers of the Cup, posting pictures, people seeing the Cup, posting it. You just see it, and say, "Oh wow, that's where the Cup was today." "Oh wow, look what Obi's doing. Look what Kempney's doing." And oh look, one of the assistant equipment guy like Woody had it in Annapolis, and this week it's been it was at the National Zoo with ice cream in it yesterday with Chris Patrick, Dick Patrick's son, who's done a wonderful job in the pro scouting department. So everybody gets it, not just the players, but the people who worked hard to get this championship. And it's been a lot of fun watching that and the videos, like you said. And social media has been great for it. I actually talked to Josh Yeo, who covers the Penguins. He reached out to me as soon as the Capitals won. He says, "Congratulations," he says. "Enjoy this. It's the most fun the summer afterwards, following that Cup around." The whole experience is incredible. And I thought it was just really classy of him. He's my favorite Pittsburgh writer. I mean, he and I chat all the time when he comes in, and it was pretty cool for a guy like that to do that. And I have to say, he's been spot on. And we still have a couple more months at least of this. Ted Leonsis has said he's going to have the Cup go around. There'll be other chances for the fans to see it. It remains to be seen where it's going to end up in Baltimore. I have to think he tries to do it. And given the despicable move the Orioles made here with the Machado trade, I certainly hope it doesn't go to an Orioles game. I'd much prefer he do something else, and it would be nice if WNST was involved.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate that. We'll see. Time will tell. It's going to be a good summer either way. I am watching the Cup, and it really is like attending a little parade every day in pictures, right? Like wherever it goes, it has magic to it. I mean, it certainly had magic for me the night it was there when I was in a room with all the players who had just won the Cup an hour and a half later, that the Cup sort of shined in the middle of the room. I'll never forget that part of it. Eddie, relax enjoy the rest of the summer. We have plenty more hockey to talk about, as well as football and baseball around here. But I did want to, after all the Dear Oriole stuff, and before we get into football sort of headway, as we will with Ray Lewis stories and whatnot, that I wanted to take a little time, talk a little hockey with you, and, exhale a little bit, as we say in our yogic practice, right?
Yeah, this is the time to just enjoy the Cup, relax, recharge. You and I spent a lot of late nights in the spring, but in the end, boy, it was really worth it, wasn't it?
Up all night out on the West Coast, man. Ed Frankovic can be found at WNST.net, and Ed Frankovic on Twitter. Caps historian and father of little hockey. I don't know. Ed, what do they call them? Termites, mites, what midgets? What? Mites. I see how we can call them termites, but Pony League. What are the other names we used to have for kids leagues, right?
Well, they go mites, and then it goes to, it starts Adams when they're really little, right. And then they go mites, then it goes squirts.
Squirts.
And then squirts is next. So my son Christian has one more year as a mite, and then he'll be a squirt.
I'm still trying to explain to my wife how I was a weeblo as a kid. Nobody, All right, man, there he goes, Ed Frankovic, joining us here, our hockey insider. I don't know what to say. Somewhere I have my Cub Scout uniform around here. I was never a Boy Scout. I never got to wear the tan suit. I couldn't tie a square knot right now if I had to, but I could push a puck down the ice with roller skates better than ice skates, and certainly not roller blades. Don't get me up on those things. Never could do that in Venice Beach. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. The aftermath of the Manny Machado trade to the Dodgers, all up at WNST.net. You can find it all in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. No static at all, just like Steely Dan, our friends that are playing at the Modell Lyric. You can get more information on that at Modell Lyric. I've also got an interview up with a few of the American Idols. I was trying to track down John Cleese. I'm working on that. I got a Kansas interview in the works, so I want to give a shout out to our partners at the Modell Lyric with lots of great shows coming up, including Anita Baker, whom I love. I'm going to go to the Anita Baker show. I miss Dave Chappelle. That was all during the Stanley Cup madness, but oh, what a summer. Football, baseball, if you can call it that. At least I got to go to the All-Star game this week, so I am very, very grateful for that. Also grateful for the great coffee and specifically the fried chicken and the Western fries that they've been enabling me on 295 as I come back from Washington low these many nights with the fried chicken and the Western fries, plus the gas. Use that ROFO rewards card. That helps you out. Saves you dough when you're pumping gas. Get your gas at Royal Farms, and you get your coffee, maybe your Western fries, maybe fried chicken for free when you use the ROFO rewards card. Download that app. Make sure you're using that. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. Streaming live right here on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.